Alrighty guys, as you can bring you to another Dragon Ball Legends video, and this one's actually going to go ahead and be a viewer suggested video on how to improve in PvP, and this is going to be a series. I don't think I can fit all this in one video, but I wanted to go ahead and give piece by piece videos on this. I think I'm going to do this every single Tuesday until I run out of ideas for this kind of topic, right? And so I think the first thing, when you think of PvP, before you even hop into PvP, I think the very first step is your team. You have to be able to go ahead and have a good party formation. You have to have a good team building, right? That's the title of this video. It's going to be how to get better at PvP, aka team building, right? And so I think the first thing that I want to go ahead and talk about is choosing a tag and sticking to a tag, especially if you're free to play. And so you can go ahead and see right here, if I scroll through my teams, a lot of them have kind of like the same units in them, right? Like you can see a lot of the same units in these because these are the, I've basically picked a tag and I'm kind of just building around it somewhat. So I have kind of like regeneration and androids. Those are the tags that I'm kind of like are my best tags at the moment, right? Like the reason why I say it's best to do this if you're free to play, because you're not going to be able to stretch your chrono crystals out thinly across every single banner that comes out, right? It's not ideal for you to go ahead and summon on every single banner that comes your way, because you're going to have a lot of incomplete teams, especially if you're not able to pull units and stuff like that, especially if you're not going to have enough CC for Zenkais and all that good stuff. So we can actually go ahead and look at my character list, and you know, I'm gonna go ahead and be real honest with you guys. I'm gonna tell you guys some good teams that you can actually main like right now. I want to go ahead and filter by power level. Alright, so these are some of my highest power level characters, right? I think it's easy to go ahead and say that. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I think androids, this might be a little bit biased, I think androids is one of the best teams to main as of right now, because once Android 18 does come back around, I feel like you just get her and you're pretty much good to go, right? Because another thing that I want to go ahead and mention is that if you're picking a tag, a huge, massive thing to keep in mind is that when you're picking these tags, if you have, if there's a character in that tag that's a free-to-play unit that is a staple on your team, especially if they're a Zenkai unit, then that's bonus points for you, right? That's going to extremely help you out in terms of building your team overall. And so we actually have that with androids in the form of Android 21. This is a free Zenkai, right? And it's just absolutely, it's just beautiful. Getting this free-to-play Zenkai is just absolutely, it's going to do wonders for your team. If you have Android 18, that's pretty much all you need right there, is those two units. So you just have to shell out the 7k crystals on one unit, and then you'll get the free-to-play Zenkai with this other unit. And that's pretty much a majority of your team right there, because you'll find that once you do have this setup right here, you're going to find yourself constantly in matches where these two are always guaranteed to be brought in, and then you have to worry about the third unit. But at that point, these two can kind of carry you a little bit, right? Especially if you're building their whole team around Android 18. Some other good teams that I want to go ahead and mention is probably like regeneration, because you can get the Fat Boo Zenkai freely off of the rush shop, right? Another one would be, I would say, God Key, because this guy is also technically free off of the rush shop and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of some other good teams. I think Saiyans is pretty. I honestly want to say Saiyans, but at the same time they can be very, very pricey, right? Especially Super Saiyans, you need a lot of Zenkais for that. For Sun Family, you need the Zenkai Super Saiyan 3. These are I think some of the worst teams to go ahead and main. Like, again, especially if you're a free-to-play player, I would say do not main GT. And I know that's going to be very hard for you guys to go ahead and hear, especially for some of some of the audience out there, is that GT is just one of those tags that is just like, you want them to do so well, but it's so hard to main them, because, I mean, you can main them, like, go ahead and main them if you want, but look at how much units they have. Look at how much units they have. Look at how much Zenkais they have. They have a single Zenkai. They don't even have that much units, and a lot of these guys are really, really outdated. We only have like a couple double buffs here. Like, we have a double buff with Super 17 with the Mega Shenron, and then I think with this guy, and I think that's pretty much it, right? I think those three are the only ones that actually have a double buff for GT, and so that's really, really bad. That's how you know they're outdated. If they're only buffing a single offense or defense, and that's how you know they're bad. Like this Super Saiyan 4 Goku, I don't think he's bad. I think he's actually a pretty solid unit, but I think his Z ability holds him back a lot. So he only has 35% to tag GT or tag Saiyan base blast attack. Only blast attack, right? Not even blast attack and defense, because if he had blast attack and defense, then I might rank him a little bit higher on this list actually, right? And so I think it's really just stuff like that you have to keep in mind. So I think that's pretty much a bad team to main. I think teams where you heavily have to rely on having a lot of Zenkai units, having to rely on a lot of LF units, those are generally the teams that you want to stay away from, right? And so let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. All right, so the next thing I want to go ahead and talk about is summoning. So I know I already just basically touched upon this already in the first part, but I just want to go ahead and reiterate that you need to know what banners to summon on. So say you picked a tag, say you picked like an Android tag, or say hypothetically you picked a regeneration tag. So you know that regeneration is on your mind, right? So you have to go ahead and make sure that you guys are summoning on regeneration banners, especially if they're good units. Do your research before summoning too. So what you should do is before just jumping in, just seeing a hype character, you should probably wait a day or two, look at some showcases, kind of fill them out, see how they do, and then you can go ahead and Zenkai them, you can go ahead and summon for them, that kind of thing. Those are the things that you really need to pay attention to, or else you're going to end up like me, and I'll go ahead and tell you why. Okay, so I absolutely felt like a clown, right? Because I have Android 18, so I like to build a lot of teams around Android 18 because she's easily like one of my best units, right? I have like my teams orientate with her really well. Like I have a lot of teams specifically built around her. And so when I heard that this Caulifla was getting a Zenkai, I was just like, dude, she buffs females, right? She does have the female buff. She also is able to, she has an anti-Saiyan buff, just like Android 18 does, right? And so immediately in my head, I was like, dude, that's going to be an insane combo. That's going to be absolutely 100% broken. Nothing is going to touch my team. And so I immediately went and Zenkai'd her, and then I immediately proceeded to regret it. But that's me as a YouTuber, right? As a content creator, like you guys can go ahead and learn from my mistakes. You guys can go ahead and follow in my same footsteps. You know, if you really like Caulifla, there's no, I can't be the person to tell you not to go ahead and Zenkai her. But for me personally, if I wasn't a content creator, I definitely would have just waited. I would have watched a couple showcases on her, and then I would have determined if I wanted to Zenkai her or not. Because look how much Chrono Crystals I have. I don't have a lot, right? I only have 4K, and that could have been extra Chrono Crystals to go ahead and spend on this GT banner because I love GT. I love GT as a tag, and now I feel like I'm really not going to have enough. I'm probably going to have enough to do one rotation, and that's pretty rough. All right, so coming back to Android 18, so this is what I wanted to go ahead and say too. Like, again, I've already touched on this specifically, but just going into further detail, if you have an OP unit, or if you have an OP unit that you want to get in mind, like say like you want to go ahead and Zenkai Android 18, and then you want to build around her, that's perfect. That's a perfect starting point. Say you have Super Saiyan 3 Zenkai Goku, the purple one, and you want to build around him, that's another good starting point, right? Because he is extremely good. Same with Bardock. You know, I think Bardock is actually specifically pretty good, right? Because with Bardock, you can actually, if you Zenkai 7 the Super Saiyan Bardock, the Broly, the Super Saiyan, the legendary Super Saiyan Broly, the green one, he's actually a free-to-play unit, and he can be a free-to-play Zenkai unit as well. So that's 2 units for the Super Saiyans right there, and you just at that point you just have to decide if you want to shell out another 7K for another Zenkai, or even you could even go ahead and bring in the Ultra Goku to go ahead and complete your Super Saiyan's team. So that has a lot of value right there, right? So this is what I'm talking about. If you have an OP unit, that you want to go ahead and build around, then you need to try building a team specifically around them. Like for Android 18, for example, what teams can I build around Android 18? I can build androids, of course, right? I can build females. I can even build kind of like a scuffed regeneration team, right? Because I have ran her alongside Demon King Piccolo with the blue Android 21, because she technically does fit under regeneration, right? And so you have to keep that stuff in mind. And especially when you are building the team around them, consider support units. Who is a support unit for Android 18? I can go ahead and use Vados. I can use Android 21. And then if even further than that, make sure you have a unit on your team that has a strong supportive ability, and not just in terms of like actual support, but for Android 18 specifically, if I'm bringing in a strong yellow like her, then I'm going to want to bring in a strong blue like Android 21, right? Another example of that could actually be with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, the purple one. If you bring in the Super Saiyan 3 purple Goku, then maybe you want to consider bringing in a really strong red to make sure no yellows come in and just body him, like Android 18 for example. Super Saiyan 3 gets shredded by Android 18, right? But Gogeta is also able to do a lot, like Super Gogeta, the Zenkai Super Gogeta is able to do a lot of good damage to Android 18. Even Ultra Goku, I've seen been able to go ahead and do some good damage to Android 18, right? So those are definitely things that you guys have to consider when building your teams. Alrighty, so another thing I want to talk about is having a complete color wheel. So this might be, you know, you guys might be watching this and saying that, dude, you're getting too complicated. Like, this is too much stuff to go ahead and take in to absorb. But this is extremely important. This is why I consider team building to be like one of the most important things that you can do as a PvP player, especially as a competitive PvP player, is when you're looking at your teams and when you're actually building your teams, you have to go ahead and consider the longevity of it. You have to consider that you don't want to just build a team specifically to counter another team. You want to build a team that can go ahead and make sure that you're going to have success no matter what team you run against, right? Because you don't get to choose what team you go against, right? It's just all in the heart of the cards, right? It's just RNG. So this is technically, I would consider this my best team. The absolute best team that I can possibly make right here is my androids team. This is the team that I kind of have built right here, and you can see that I have a full color wheel. So I have a yellow unit, I have a blue unit, I have a green unit, I have a purple unit, and I have a red unit. And I think the weakest unit here is this Android 21 right here, right? The only thing that I really need to make sure that this team is fully complete is probably an updated purple. But even then, I feel like Android 21 does, the purple one at least, she does her job decently, right? If I'm running into like 3 greens, 4 greens, of course I'm going to bring her in. No, like that's going to be an easy brainer. But other than that, like, it's just like I definitely feel like having the full color wheel is going to absolutely be something extremely beneficial to you, because if you're missing colors and then your enemy is like running like a monocolor team, like if I'm like, say I'm missing a purple, right? Like say I did not have Android 21 on here and I'm going against a purple red team, or not a purple red team, like a green yellow team, then I'm probably going to struggle a little bit against that, right? So you want to go ahead and you have to factor in everything when it comes to team building. And I think the best place to start is actually going ahead and just looking at your unit, putting in your unit. So for example, for what I like to do, especially if I know my specific 3 units that I'm going to go ahead and bring, is I like to start off with the first unit that I want to go ahead and protect. Like say right here for this example, say like I have Android 18. I want to go ahead and protect her, so I'm going to go ahead and bring a blue unit to counter any red unit that's for my Android 18, and then on the flips, I keep going down that list. And then so I was like, I also want to protect my blue Android 21, and I know a green unit is going to hurt her, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in my purple Android 21 to go ahead and protect her as well, right? It's not always as simple as that, but I feel like that's like a good starting point. All right, and so before we head into the final section of the video, I want to go ahead and talk about Zenkai Units. This is probably going to be the hot take. This is probably something that you guys don't want to hear, but Zenkai Units are essential for competitive PvP players. If you're wanting to get into the top ranks, like the very, very top ranks, like say you want to get into the top 3K, then Zenkai Units are going to be crucial, 100%. You're not going to be able to play in the top 3K and not see another Zenkai Unit team, right? Maybe you'll run into a really stacked Future team, or maybe you'll run into a really stacked Rival Universe team that doesn't have any Zenkais on it, but for the most part, you're going to see a ton of Zenkais everywhere you go. So even as a free-to-play player, you guys have to understand that free-to-play units are worth it in the long run, especially if you know what free-to-play or what Zenkai units you are getting into. And so you can actually see right here, obviously, easily, my best Zenkai units are the LF Gohan, right? The LF Gohan, and then the Android 18. These, I think, like, for the Gohan, I didn't really spend any Chrono Crystals on her, but for Caulifla, I spent Chrono Crystals on her. For Android 16, I spent Chrono Crystals on her. And then for 17, I spent Chrono Crystals on her. And then you have these other guys that are kind of just sitting at Zenkai level 1, right? So this guy's Zenkai level 1, this guy's Zenkai level 1. Is because I've been doing the daily like singles, right? The daily singles on their Zenkai banners, because I know that these Zenkai units will be worth it eventually, right? So I might as well start slowly but surely building them up. Same with this guy. This guy's actually a free-to-play Zenkai that I've been slowly working on from the Rush shop. And then I think after him, I want to go ahead and work on this guy. Zenkais are absolutely 100% worth it. Especially if you're getting an OP one. If you've done your research on your Zenkai units and you know they're going to have value on your team, you know they're going to be absolute must-brings whenever you load up into a match, then I would say that completely warrants you guys spending that CC on them. Because you can go into banners, like say a new banner drops, there's a hype new LF unit, you think he's going to be amazing, and so you're like, I'm going to drop 20k CC on this banner, easy peasy. Right? Say it's a purple unit. Say it's a purple unit. And say it's a purple Saiyan. Not throwing any shade here, but say it's a purple Saiyan. So you throw 20k CC at it. You walk away with 1 copy if you're lucky. So you have this 2-star purple Saiyan at 2 stars, and you're like, oh my god, I spent 20k CC on this banner, but I got the LF. I'm so happy. I'm gonna go ahead and run into PvP. You know, I can't wait to try this guy out. And then you have these sick-minded people that are just like,
oh, you have a purple Saiyan. You have an LF purple Saiyan. Oh, he's only 2 stars?
And look, you've run into Android 18. And then, obviously, you might get upset. You might be frustrated. You might be like, dude, like, Android 18 is so bad. Like, she takes 0 skill. Yeah, maybe. You might have some points there, right? I agree. I think Android 18 is a menace to society. I think she's a cancer that is infested Dragon Ball Legends, but that's just how the cookie crumbles, right? Android 18 is going to beat that 2-star LF unit any day of the week, even if you pour 20k CC into him, right? And the thing is, you have to understand is that this unit only cost me 7k CC to get, right? You could have got 2 Zenkais for that price of that 1 2-star LF unit, right? That's kind of where they get you. And I know it kind of feels like a scam, it kind of feels like a trap, but I need you guys to understand that Zenkai units are worth it. Like, you have to understand that Zenkai units are in your best interest, even if you're a free-to-play player. I would say especially if you're a free-to-play player, Zenkai units are really, really in your best interest. Alrighty, for the last thing of the video that I want to go ahead and touch upon, it'll be something quick because this is something that I'm really bad at doing. So this seems like it's something very, very small, but it's actually pretty big. Like, it plays a part in the bigger picture, right? So equipment is something that you guys definitely should invest in because some equips can make or break a character, right? So if we can go ahead and look at these equips right here, I have some decent equips all around. Like, I have some Zs. I usually don't pursue Zs. I like to go ahead and stop at S ranks. If I can get S ranks of some equips, then I'm completely and utterly happy with that. But there are other people, there are other YouTubers that I specifically want to go ahead and have a Z equip of every single one. So that's understandable too, right? But for the most part, I do think equipments are really good. And if you're like me and you don't really know where to start with equipments, I would say the most noob friendly place to start off with equipments is going to DBZ or to Game Press section of Legends and looking up your character. And I actually pull an example of Android 16 on the screen right here because you can go ahead and see that it'll say like his recommended equips. It'll say like what these equips will do, and you can go ahead and try to farm these equips, right? Because equips do play a big part on the bigger scheme of things, right? Because some of these equips actually are really good. Like, example for this equip right here, this is an awakened equip. This one was actually kind of difficult to go ahead and get, but this equip is for red melee type, and that's a very general tag, right? Red unit and a melee type. And look what this does. So base strike attack 17%, and then you get base critical 14%, and then another buff for base strike attack for 10%. So you're getting a 27% strike attack buff with this. You're getting a critical buff with this, and you're getting strike defense with this. That is major, right? And you can always find some really good equips. Like, this one came out for Super Saiyan Rose, for the LF Rose, right? And it's absolutely beautiful for him. Look at this, 11% to strike, 14% to strike. So I'm getting a whopping, what is that, 25%? Or even more, right? 26% with the 2-strike attack, and then I'm also getting 9% to my special move damage and 9% to my ultimate damage. That is, look, those, it might seem like baby numbers to you, but in the grand scheme of things, it really adds up. So that being said, that's pretty much everything you have to know about team building. Let me know if this helped you. If you guys have any more questions, definitely let me know in the comments down below. If you guys enjoy this type of content, definitely let me know by leaving a like and maybe even considering that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later!